My father was a diehard Trump supporter, despite the fact that his Colombian son, my brother, was one of those criminals he warned us about. My brother and I were both adopted from an orphanage in Bogota, Colombia. And growing up, our white adoptive family made sure to tell us that we were lucky to have parents like these, to be part of a family like this. And they told us we weren't one of those Latinos, the ones they called dangerous, lazy, or criminal. After the first time he got arrested, you could tell that the family was treating him a little different. But it wasn't until a few times later that I overheard one of my uncles telling my aunt that he wasn't allowed around their family anymore, despite the fact that he had never done anything to them or harmed them in any way. It's still hard to reconcile the love that they gave us, that most of my family still gives me as the overachiever, book nerd, college educated, never even got a speeding ticket woman that I am, but how they so easily turn their backs on my brother. And the only difference that I can think between my brother and my dad is the fact that my dad is white and my brother is brown. But when my brother went down the path that he did, and he struggled with addiction, and he struggled with anger issues, and he was kicked out repeatedly from our home and left to figure out how to find food and shelter by himself, his path became a lot more complicated. I knew that there were other people in the family that struggled with addiction, other people who struggled with anger issues. I'll never forget the day that my dad came home from work smug that a dishwasher at the restaurant he was working in was let go. That man, that gentleman, had happened to be undocumented and wasn't in the wrong at all. My father had hit him after misunderstanding something that he said, something my father had done often within the family and within the community. And he hit the gentleman. And the police were called, and the cops were, of course, very buddy-buddy with my dad, and he got away scot-free. And there will be many people who say, like, his race and ethnicity didn't matter. Your parents loved you, they adopted you. I can't believe that. I won't believe that. And yet, my story isn't unique. There are many adoptees of color out there who were adopted internationally or domestically or through foster care that are being raised or were raised in majority white families. And many of us are still subjected to being around family members and hearing them proudly support the orange Cheeto. Because to them, he's doing a great job. He's making America great again by protecting America from the Latino rapists and murderers and violent criminals. Because it's easy to label. It's easy to label brown and black people as the problem. And the sad part is, there are so many of us who are growing up in homes where we are not supported, where our parents don't understand why color matters, why these discussions about anti-racism matter, why getting rid of DEI initiatives are a problem. But our families would rather turn a blind eye and ignore it and don't see the fact that they're failing their children. that transracial adoptees are struggling, that multiracial and biracial children who are growing up in majority white families are struggling. Which is why I created the resource that I did, because I would have these very, very tense conversations with my parents, trying to get them to understand why this matters, why this is a problem. And for the longest time, they couldn't. And my mom just went along with whatever my father did. But this was the first year that I know my mom didn't vote for the orange Cheeto. So I want you to know that change is possible. That not everyone, and probably not most of your family, will be willing to change, but there are some that are willing to do the work. And it takes time, it takes patience, and most importantly, it takes boundaries. So please take care of yourself. Remember to drink water, take your medication, go to therapy, and find a support person that you can trust with these conversations. Find a community like on this app or others, and reach out and find healthy coping mechanisms, because it's going to be a long